Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Jack Talks Bikes, and this is another one of my weekly news roundups where I take a look at the headlines and pick a couple of stories to talk about which have caught my attention. So this week, who's back in the headlines? We have got Triumph with their True Originals Never Settle campaign. This is the first of the launches from their new 29 new bikes they're putting out over the next 6 months. If you click the pop-up banner at the top of the screen, we'll talk about that press release that was put out last week. This is the first of the launches from that. And also in the headlines today, I'm going to be talking about KTM and the launch of their absolutely incredible looking super sport bike, the KTM 990 RCR. I'm going to dive a little bit deeper into the specs and tech of that bike. I'll give you my thoughts and opinions on, well, how impressed I am with what I'm seeing from that particular bike. So grab yourself a brew and let's dig a little deeper and see what is actually happening behind these headlines. Okay, so for those of you that are only here for the KTM news, if you go to the description below, you'll find a chapter marker in the video there where you're able to skip ahead straight to the KTM news. But if you're here for both or you're here just for the Triumph, then let's jump straight into it. This first bit of news is the Triumph's True Originals Never Settle campaign. And now we discussed something about this last week. If you click the pop-up banner, you can check out that video as well. We discussed this last week. Triumph put out a press release where they're claiming to be putting out 29 new bikes in 6 months. It's a bold claim. But when you dig a little bit deeper, you find out that it's not 29 all new bikes. They're repackaging and spending a bit of time and energy rebuilding and redesigning the 26 model year line of bikes that are currently available with them as well. And this True Originals Never Settle campaign is focused purely on the Bonneville family. And that includes the T100, T120, T120 Black, the Scrambler, the Speedmaster, and the Bobber. So yeah, that's your 6 bikes. That's the whole Bonneville family. And this isn't a massive upgrade. This is more of an evolution of those bikes to bring them into the modern era to try and keep up with the competition that's out there. And because we know there's quite a lot of stiff competition in this retro classic market, like Honda just released their, CB 1000F retro bike. We talked about that again, pop-up banner at the top of the screen. You can take yourself to that video to talk about what that one is. But yeah, there's a lot of competition in this kind of classic retro modern market. So Triumph are taking the opportunity now to just bring their current line of exceptionally good classic retro bikes up to date and give you guys the tech and stuff that you're kind of expecting from a modern new motorcycle. So what is it they've actually done? So they've included now across the entire range of bikes, this is the main headline, they've included an IMU-backed lean-sensitive ABS and traction control system across the entire line of bikes. So this is bringing these bikes bang up to date and giving you guys the safety features as riders that you come to expect of modern bikes. So this makes the bikes much more user-friendly and gives you guys that extra safety net when out on the road, which is fantastic as a biker because we all know it's quite a dangerous hobby, as we're told regularly by other people. So having this additional safety features and stuff built into the bikes, try and keep you guys upright and safe, I think is very, very wise. It keeps these bikes bang up to date. On top of that, they've also now modernised all the lighting. We now get full LED lighting across the lineup. And they've done this so well, in my opinion. If you look at the new headlights on these bikes, they still have that retro look and retro feel, but they've included this full bright LED setup, which should make you easier to see in the day with the daytime running lights. And it just makes the bike just look a little bit more fresh and a bit more exciting. And they've also included, quite nicely, on all of the bikes, a USB-C port now. So you're easily able to plug things like your phone, your sat-nav, all that sort of stuff in on the handlebars and keep things nice and charged just by the use of a little USB-C port just underneath the clocks, which again, I think is a nice little update on these bikes. And as I keep mentioning, it brings them bang up to date. So one of the biggest updates though is to the Scrambler. So this bike has received all those same tech updates, but it's also received some chassis tweaks in the form of fully adjustable front shower suspension and a pair of external reservoir adjustable shower dampers on the rear. It also now benefits from lightweight aluminium wheels, which will help with the unsprung weight of the bike, help with that kind of sharper handling and that turn and that feel. This is on the Scrambler 900, should I say. So this is the Scrambler 900 that's received these updates. The Scrambler 400 hasn't received the chassis updates. That just remains the same Scrambler 400. And the Scrambler 1200 XE, when it was initially released, came with Showa big piston forks up front and Öhlins external reservoir dampers on the rear. Then they switched to some other suspension manufacturers and design, and they've come back to what they originally sold it with. So we're now back with the Showa big piston forks up front and the twin Öhlins remote reservoirs on the back for the 2026 model year bikes. So there was obviously something they weren't quite happy with previously. They've now moved back to their original supplier. And I think you'll all agree that that's actually a worthwhile, a notable upgrade. Now, to quote Triumph directly on this one, these upgrades, they know they are more evolution, not revolution. That's the tagline that they're going with. So it's keeping the heritage of the bikes and making them more usable and safe day to day for the modern environment and the modern rider. Dealer times are staggered. Triumph are rolling the Bobber and the Speedmaster out earliest, so they can expect to see those in the showrooms first. And then it's going to be followed by the T100 and the T120 family of bikes, with the Scrambler following into the spring of next year. So in short, if you love the Bonneville silhouette and that kind of line of bikes and you wanted a modern rider edge to go with it, well, Triumph have got you covered there. They've gone out and done just that for you with these bikes. Now, as always, put the question back to you guys. Do you think that these upgrades are enough for someone that might have, I don't know, a 2024, 2025 model year Bonneville bike, one of the Bobbers or Speedmasters? Do you think these are worthwhile enough upgrades for you guys to revisit the dealership and go in and upgrade your bike? Or do you think these are more of a marginal step forward? So it's something to kind of swing sales their way for someone who's currently in the market, let's say for a classic vintage looking bike who might be coming away from a super sport. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on these upgrades and whether you think they're worthwhile and it's something that you're going to be keen on and potentially visiting Triumph to go and get yourself a brand new spanking Bonneville with an all singing, all dancing electronics package. Okay, so moving on with the news stories, we are now looking at KTM and their release of the new 990 RCR Supersport sports bike. And I personally think the hype that I am seeing from proper journos, proper reviewers and stuff out there around this bike is warranted, because I think KTM have had an absolute touch with the release of this bike. And it just shows that after all that negative publicity about them nearly shutting up shop and closing down, actually being saved and being able to come out swinging with a bike that I think ticks so many boxes, it could be the bike that revives KTM. Let's go into it and let's have a dive in and have a look around what they're offering here. So the 990 RCR is priced at £13,499, which is not pocket change. But what you're getting with that bike is phenomenal. So we'll start with the tech specs and we'll move through the press release and some of the headline points they're trying to raise with it. And you'll see what I mean by the hype and this bike doing a lot for a lot of different riders. So it's not just a fully fared Duke. They've taken the same 947cc LC8C engine parallel twin, but they've tuned it differently in this bike. It's now producing 128 brake horsepower and 103 newton meters of torque. And it comes with a whole host of like real life functional aerodynamics on this bike that are doing all sorts of stuff to make this bike handle fantastically when it's out on track. And it also looks stupendously good. It's one of the first super sports bikes I've come out where I've looked at every angle of it and thought, I like that. That looks tremendous. It's all angular in the right places. I love the fact that KTM have made it bright orange, but you can get it toned down in that black and orange as well. The whole bike just looks tremendous, in my opinion. Weight of the bike is now reported to be coming out at 184 kilograms dry, and the press briefings and all reviews are saying that the bike handles fantastically as a result of this kind of lightweight, chuckable feel of the bike. It's not a heavy bike by any means, and it also comes fitted now with WP Apex fully adjustable front and rear suspension. It also has state-of-the-art Brembo brakes, the same ones that are found on the Panigale V2, so we know they're not cutting corners there. You've got some serious stopping power on the bike, and for added comfort, you also now get fully adjustable ergonomics on the bike thanks to a set of adjustable rear sets on the bike. And this is where we now start seeing how KTM have approached this with a completely different set of eyes to other brands like Yamaha and Ducati and, I don't know, Suzuki and stuff with their sports bikes, because they've not gone one way or the other. They've not said it's either a full attack like the R9, aggressive ergonomics, this is a sports bike, or they've not gone a bit softer like the likes of Ducati and Suzuki by saying we've softened it off a little bit and made sure the ergonomics are just a bit more upright and a bit more comfortable. They've gone, well, why not have both? Let's give you the option to adjust this bike and give yourself that full attack angle when out on track, but adjust those rear sets and get yourself in a more comfortable seating position for when you're out on the street and enjoying a ride with friends across the country. I think that's a brilliant touch. And on that, a real headline standout feature for myself is this new 8.8-inch TFT screen they've included. They're like long landscape screen. You'll see clips of it on the screen now. It's all touchscreen. It's the new cockpit for the bike. And I personally think it looks tremendous. I think they've done a standout job of the way that thing looks and functions. It's full colour. It works with offline navigation, so that's integrated in it. You download the maps from your phone to the bike, so you don't have to have your phone connected or your phone out anywhere on the handlebars. You can just ride not distracted, knowing that you've got that safety net of the navigation to get you to and from your location. You download those maps to the bike. You can have it in split screen mode, so you can have the nav one side. You can have all your rider telemetry on there, things like your lean angle, your speed, just for lap timers and stuff if you're out on track, so you can scrap off the sat nav, put your lap timer on there. They've really thought about every element of information that as a rider you might want on that bike. And it's so up to date. It just looks tremendous. So yeah, I'm here for that. I think that is a brilliant inclusion on that bike. It's fun that they've rolled it out on the sports bike because it's a sports bike and we know full well that your eyes should be up looking ahead of where you're going when riding a bike like that. So I'm hopeful to see this exact dash or something similar to it with that functionality rolled out across the rest of the line. It'd be amazing to see it on their adventure bikes and their SMC kind of hooligan, supermoto style bikes as well. Things that you can actually go out adventuring and exploring and stuff on. So hopefully we'll see that trickle down. But it's awesome to see it on this bike, and it's clear to see that KTM are treating this RC990 as their halo bike by including all this tech and throwing everything at it so that we can see it and use it in the real world. Now, talking of navigations, let's pause for 2 seconds to introduce you to this. This little bad boy is the Beeline Moto 2 satellite navigation. Now, if you are not in a position to go out and buy yourself a brand new KTM RC990, you might have a bike that doesn't have a satellite navigation integrated, and you might be quite used to using a quad lock mount, such as this one, fitting it to your handlebars and having this big old phone on your handlebars giving you the directions. But you might not like that, and that is where the guys at Beeline enter the market. The Beeline Moto 2, as you can see, is this discreet little kind of, it's no bigger than a watch screen, is it really? And this links to your phone. You can put your phone in your pocket, and this will give you turn-by-turn directions to get you to your location. Now, the guys at Beeline have been kind enough to sponsor my channel, so I'm giving them a shout out saying thank you very much for sending me the device out. And if you guys want to get yourself one of these, you can check out the video in the pop-up banner at the top where I'll talk you through exactly what the Beeline Moto is all about, how it works, all the functionality and stuff on it, how much it's going to cost you, and you can click the link in the description below to go out and get yourself one. I will get a little bit of commission from doing it. It is an affiliate link, but you guys ultimately will not pay a penny more. Anyway, back to the bike. Let's find out a little bit more about the KTM 990 RCR. So I briefly touched on this just a second ago. For you track junkies, KTM is offering the track pack, which you'll pay to upgrade. It unlocks various different modes in the bike's electronics package. You'll get track mode within your rider modes, and this gives you 2 additional custom slots within the bike setup features, which is great if you regularly ride 2 or 3 different circuits. You're able to kind of ride the bike, give it a shakedown, tailor the suspension and stuff for the bike, tailor the electronics package, because the suspension isn't electronic, but you'll be able to tailor the bike's electronics, so ABS, cornering control, wheelie control, all that sort of stuff, to fit the track that you're riding on. So it gives you those 2 different customizable modes. You also get advanced anti-wheelie adjustment with multiple levels. You also get launch control and that lap timer and additional telemetry for the screen, including lap analysis data. So in short, if you buy the base bike, you get a sharp street machine, but if you add the track pack to it, you are getting yourself a near ready-to-race, fully functional sports bike. On that note, KTM is also running a custom race series, the 990 RCR Cup. So they're clearly positioning this bike as their halo rider-focused sports machine with real track support being offered. And on that, further in, they're also releasing a track-only RCR track variant of the bike, which is due early 2026. So if you don't want a road bike, you're only interested in the racing, then there's that option as well, which is nice to have. It's nice to have options. So overall, I'm going to put it back to you guys. What do you think of the KTM 990 RCR? It's got some stiff competition out there. As I've said in the market, it's clearly got the Panigale V2 in its crosshairs. It's looking at Yamaha with their R9. And I guess you could say it's looking at MV Augusta with the F3800. A couple of grand more, but you're getting a premium Italian sports bike for that money. So yeah, anyway, what do you guys think? What are you looking at? If you're in the market for supersport, are you adding the KTM to your shopping list? This is a bike that you think should be seriously considered. So there you have it. That is this week's weekly news roundup. If you've liked this video and you like this kind of content, then please hit that subscribe button just below. It costs you nothing and helps my channel grow and hopefully gets this video in front of more people with more of an interest in this kind of topic so we can come back each week and talk about bikes. And I'll put another video on the screen somewhere right now, probably last week's video, where I talk about 10 things I absolutely love about my Ducati Monster. I'd appreciate it if you go and check that video out as well. So there you go. Okay, hopefully I'll see you guys all in the future. Like I said, subscribe, do all that good social media stuff, and have a great rest of your day. Cheers.